Good morning, Firewood friends. This is Chris, and we are not in the wood yard. I am at a customer's house, and I'm unloading wood. It's a one-face cord load, and he came out and said he has to be on a phone call in 10 minutes. He said, would I take 20 bucks to stack it? And that's what I usually charge. The only thing is I usually don't like to carry it that far. I usually like to carry it like right to here and stack it. But it's no big deal. It won't take long at all. I just did the first armful, and I thought this would be a good demonstration. He had some little stuff, as you can see right there, that it's like apple wood, I think. It looks like short pieces that weren't really fitting in the rack, so I pulled those off. I'm going to put all the stuff I brought on the rack and then put that back on top. And what I usually do is when I deliver wood, it's almost always to the front, so I keep the weight to the front so that the truck isn't, back heavy. And so what I always do, if I'm going to stack it, I'll migrate it right to the back real quick, like this. And by doing that, it allows me just to grab it from the end without having to jump up in the truck 100 times. So I just load it onto the tailgate like this. So I'm going to put this over here, and you can watch me walk back and forth a couple dozen times to load wood. So let's put you right here. How's that look? Does that look like wood? That looks reasonable. And I got the mic on so you can hear me grunt and groan as I go back and forth. So usually what I try to do is grab 5-6 pieces at a time. I kind of use the claw method, like this. Try to grab an armful and then walk it over instead of just 1 or 2 pieces. And obviously try to put your bigger pieces on the bottom right away so you get a good base. And always, of course, be careful that you don't whack the building, or if somebody's got especially plastic vinyl siding, you can drop a piece and hit it, and you can put a hole right in it, especially if it's cold out. And I will tell you how I know that. One time I was unloading a truckload. I had it about as close as I am to the building here, and the guy wanted it right up by the building. And he just stood there and watched while I chucked. Well, one piece bounced off, did a flip, and then whacked the siding and punched a hole right in the siding. And he didn't get excited. He said, nah, no big deal. But I've never had him for a customer since either. So it's not something you want to do. I try to stay away as much as possible from buildings when I'm dumping or when I'm chucking pieces off and unloading. But obviously people want it as close as possible most of the time. So try to get it close. Now, one other time I delivered wood, and I was chucking it off the truck, and the guy I delivered to, his son was helping me chuck it off, and they had these blue ceramic vases that were like planters, and they were like 3 feet high, I would guess, and one on each side. And we were throwing the wood right into the corner where he wanted it. And one piece bounced off, did a flip, and it was cold out. Whacked the vase and the planter, and shattered it. So right away I told the kid, I said, and it was a piece I threw. He didn't throw it. It was one I did. I said, just let your dad know that get a new one, send the receipt, and I'll pay for it. And then the dad called up and said his wife was not happy. The woman of the house is the way he worded it. He said, the woman of the house is not happy. I said, well, I don't blame her. I said, just so you know, I didn't throw it at it directly, trying to hit it. I said, it just bounced off the pile. I said, I will pay for a new vase, our new planter. I said, just go get one and send me a receipt. He said, just so you know, they weren't cheap. I said, yeah, I believe it. He said, the pair of them were like 150 bucks. And so the replacement was going to be like 75, 80 bucks. That was 2 years ago. And I told him, I said, I'll gladly pay for another one. I said, just go get it. I said, I just got to have a receipt. And Never heard from him again, which is, I guess, on one hand good that I didn't have to pay for it. Bad on the other hand, I guess I lost a customer. He was a first-time customer, and he didn't seem like the type that was going to burn a lot of wood, but still, it's one of those things. It just kind of bothers me. So that's the only time only 2 times I can think of that I had damage from doing wood. Oh, I had one other time. I was dumping a load of wood with the dump trailer, and that load that I dumped, a piece came off and hit siding, but it didn't break it. It just made like it was more like wood siding, and it made like a slight dent or scratch in it. And the guy said, "Oh, good, it matches the side I did on the other side." So apparently he did the same thing. He said, "No big deal." He says, "No one's gonna know it's there but me." But still, since then, since those 3 times, I guess, I've tried to be really careful of not hitting things that I'm working around or by. And that's one thing that I don't have. I probably should have. I should probably get a hold of my insurance agent and get a small policy for damage in case something does happen with the delivery. Because I don't have any. And, you know, you could just get the wrong person that has a conniption over something and sue you or something. So it's probably not a bad idea to get some insurance. Now this load, I did 3 rows across, but I can see now 2.5 rows is going to fill those rack easily. So I might just drive out of here with some wood because I brought way more than I needed to, I believe. We'll find out when I get it unloaded. It looks like it's kind of more than fill it. I'll leave a little extra, but if I got another delivery right after this, if I got extra, it'll just already be partially loaded, I guess. Now, all the deliveries that I have today, I think I've got 3 so far for sure, and 1 I'm supposed to have today. The guy was going to text me his address. I haven't got it yet. And then I've got a 5th one. It's a lady that wants 2 face cords, and she hasn't gotten back in touch with us either. She did it with email, and haven't heard back from her yet, but my wife will email her while I'm doing deliveries today, find out if I'm still coming today. So that would be 5 deliveries today so far. And today is a Thursday. And usually Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays is when I get lots of calls. And I think we just renewed our ad on Craigslist. So whenever we renew it, we go to the top. And it's not unusual at all for us to get 2-3 calls right away that day, and several more calls, the following days. It's very common. What I like about these big chunks of this maple that I got, which were, as you know, if you've been watching, originally cut by a guy for a wood boiler, so they're pretty big chunks. But what I like about them is fewer pieces to handle, and they stack faster because they're big chunks. And almost everybody that's buying them this time of year, because it's springtime now, everybody's buying them for outdoor fire pits. And they don't care what size the pieces are, they just want stuff that burns. Almost everybody's telling me kind of the same thing. Yeah, they say, it's just for a fire pit, we just want something that's gonna burn. And I tell them, I do have a little bit of oak left. I've got this maple mix, which is great. Then I also have pine. And I would say 3 out of 4 people pick the hardwood mix stuff like this. That's basically because that's what the ad talks about mainly, and it's the picture of what I have in the ad. And then the pine, I also have an ad for that. And I have a few people that want pine because they like the way it smells, and they like the fact that it, you know, crackles and snaps and pops, and it lights super easy. It burns real easy, as you know. But the bad thing is that it burns pretty fast. This stuff will last a lot longer because it's pretty chunky. So I'm already way over the top of the rack here as far as the height. I think the corners to fill in, and I think will be way more than enough wood. So as you saw, by me moving the wood to the back of the truck, I'm able to stay on the ground without having to hop up inside a whole bunch of times to grab more chunks. I'm able just to reach in and grab it. It saves a lot of time and effort. So this armful right here will be a little bit more than a full cord, so I'm going to give them a little bit more. And people are always very happy that I give them a little bit more than I pay for. I'm going to get most of it. Now I do have to run up in there because I can't quite reach this stuff that kind of fell off the pile. These are just kind of odd sized pieces anyway that I had thrown in. So as you can see, I had 3 rows all the way across the inside of the bed, and then I had, I believe it was like 5 pieces that were extra that I threw in, and I can see that I'm well over the top of the rack here. I'll show you it when I get everything in so you can see how much is in here. So I guess if I wouldn't have thrown in those few extra pieces, would have still been just a little bit over. This one. And then I'm going to put his little few chunks of this apple wood that he's got here. He must have cut an apple tree down because that's what this is, I can tell. And it seems like once I stack for someone, because I've got several ladies that I stack for, and a couple guys, once I stack it for them, it seems like every time they want me to stack it because they have something more important to do, which I don't blame them if they got something they got to do. And this guy noticed it's very particular. He had all of his wood scraps up here too, so I'm gonna put them all back up. I told him I would. It takes an extra minute. There we go, all done. So as you can see, here's the top of the rack. So all this up above there is extra. So there it is, it's done. And the truck is empty. And I have $100 from the wood and $20 from stacking. And that took about, I don't know, 12 minutes or something like that for $20. I'm happy, he's happy. I'm off to the races to the next one. So here we go again. I'm back. So I backed up to the pile. We're gonna put the next load on. So I will put you guys somewhere up here. Let's get open the tailgate up and crawl up in here and find a place to put you. I'm gonna put the next load on. So the next one is a place I have to go about 24 miles, I think it was. So I charge them extra for delivery fee because it is a ways to go. And the only ones that get free delivery are with less than 10 miles, which kind of covers most of the area I live in. But this one is south of here, about, like I said, 23 miles or 24 miles, something like that. So, I'm just gonna load up the next load. And usually I just kind of throw it in, and then I stack it in to make sure I got the right amount. I try to get as close to the pile as I can, so I'm not walking with the wood. I like to just chuck it in. Usually throw the first few pieces in gently, so I'm not banging up the truck, flattening it all out. Got a bunch of dings you can see on the corners of the wheel wells there. Most of those are not from me. They're from when I have people help me and it's not their truck, so they just chuck wood. I try to be somewhat careful. My truck is 6 years old now, and I want it to last at least another 4 or 5. I like to get about 10 years out of a truck. Right now I got 145,000 miles on this truck, I think, and it's probably 90% hauling wood or pulling the trailer, or a lot of it is pulling a camper on trips I've gone on. And so yeah, it gets used a lot. It's an actual work truck. It's not a show pony like a lot of guys have. Sorry if that's you. But my hitch gets used pretty much, I wouldn't say every day, but I bet I pull the trailer 3 to 4 days a week. Some days it's every day of the week if I'm going on location and cutting, or if it's in the busy season, which is October, November, when I deliver a lot of wood. I mean, there's days in the fall where I will deliver at least 4 or 5 loads a day. And my best day I ever had this last year, I delivered, that's a really big one, I delivered 17 face cords in one day. So the way I was able to do that is that my first delivery at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7:30, whatever time it was a guy that wanted 8 face cords, which is 2 trailer loads full. So the night before, I loaded up the trailer so that first thing in the morning, I just went right to his place. I dumped it, and I came back, loaded the next load up, went and dumped that. And then I had another guy right after that scheduled that wanted 4 face cords. So that was 12 right off the bat, just like that before noon. And, or around noon by the time I got those done. And then I think after that I had I think I had a triple. People wanted 3 face cords or a full cord. And then I had a double and a single. Sometimes it was 17 face cords in one day. That was the best day I ever had as far as delivering. I have a lot of days where I deliver 5, 6, 7 face cords in the fall. Like an average day is I'll do 2 singles like this, maybe a double where it's 2 face cords, and then another person that gets a full 4 face cords or 3 face cords, a full cord in one load. That happens a lot. But my favorites to deliver are the 3 face cords at one time, because I can load them pretty quick, and it's a lot of wood all in one shot. So a full cord at a time is really nice. I just like that a lot. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of guys I noticed in their ads, their minimum is 3 face cords or a full cord. There's one guy, he'll only do full loads. If you're not buying a full load from him, he won't deliver it at any price. He just won't do it. He says he only does deliveries if somebody's buying a full load. And a full load for him was either 5 or 6 face cords. It was I think it was 5 or 6 face cords. So like 2 full 4 cords, and he wouldn't deliver. I'm telling you, for those of you that are starting a wood business, delivery is huge. And yeah, you should charge a little bit for it, whether you build it into the price of the wood or if you charge extra for delivery. Delivery is the key. Unless you're in a rural area where everybody has a truck, maybe that's the exception. But even there, my brother lives in northern Wisconsin in a town of like 400 people, and he delivers up to like 30 miles away, and he delivers a lot of wood. There's a lot of people, they just don't want to handle it, and he delivers people that are buying in bulk. Like his average customer buys 12 to 14 face cords at a time. He's got a lot of people that from him will buy 24 face cords every year, like standing orders, and he delivers a lot of them in the summertime before the wood is even fully dried, because people just want to make sure they get it because they like his wood. And he tells them right up front, that it won't be ready till fall, and they don't care. They just want it because they want to make sure they don't miss out. Because when you heat your house, for those of you that you know this, that you don't want to run out of wood in the middle of winter, especially if you live, like in northern Wisconsin where it's cold. I mean, they get snow like 7 months out of the year, so it's not like the banana belt down here, as he calls it. I'm only, 170 miles away from him, something like that. But we're always 10 to 15 degrees warmer than he is, just almost always. So anyway, I think that's getting close to being enough that I can start stacking. And notice how I have it in there. I put it kind of more towards the back, and the reason I do that is that I gotta leave a little space up front, which I'll show you in just a minute, so I can actually get in there to stack it. So I'll show you. I can get my carcass up here. So I try to always leave a little bit of space like this so that I can start a row right here and stack it. So I think I'll hang you guys over on this edge. You should be able to see from here pretty good, I think. How's that look? That looks beautiful. That's what I'm calling it, beautiful. So I don't do this real neat, like I'm trying to pack it forever and as tight as possible. I just kind of throw them in loose rows, because I know that if I do 3 rows loosely stacked, it's a face cord. Leave quite enough room. It's a little too tight. Can't move around. Sometimes I leave plenty of space, but this isn't one of them. I got it a little bit too tight. There's really nowhere for me to go. So I try to clear out the next area for the next row. Come on, get off of there. There, now I got a place to stand finally. So, I'm just gonna fill this in here. And again, like I said, I just kind of chuck it in, nothing particular. And it doesn't have to be exact because I know I'm giving them a little bit more than what they pay for most of the time. There, I think that's adequate. See, I did not leave enough room. I'm basically stacking wood on my feet. And I guess if I had these in rows pre-measured, I could just throw it in and go. But this is all the wood I bought from the farmer that had this left over from boiler wood that he never used, or I should say quit using. And I just dumped it out here when I got back because I did with my trailer. So I ended up with about 50 face cords, and I wasn't going to stack it because I knew I was going to sell it all in the next couple months for campfire wood, which is exactly what I'm doing. And there was no reason to stack it in measured loads. So really this is my first time stacking this stuff, other than when I put it into the trailer just to make sure I could get as much in as possible. So yeah, I did this. I put too much wood in, and I put it too far to the front because I've got no room to work here. Usually it goes a lot faster because I can just throw it into place. So I should have kept it back farther. But I'll get it in eventually. Now this next guy I'm delivering to, like I mentioned, is out of town. He called me last night to set it up. And he thinks I've sold wood to him before, because he said my ad looked familiar, because he had lost the number of the wood guy that was the good wood guy, he called me. He said, yeah, there was a good wood guy we had a couple years ago that delivered. And he said, we got 2 or 3 face cords. And he said, we just ran out. But he's not sure it's me. And he wants to make sure the wood is good before he gets, because he said he goes through 2 or 3 a year, face cords. And I said, well, that's fine. Just get one now and get another one later. Although I told him, I said, you know, if you get 2 right away, you pay 1 delivery fee. Whereas if you get 2 different deliveries, you're going to pay 2 delivery fees, so you could save yourself $20. And I even told him, I said, matter of fact, I said, I'm actually giving you a deal because I should be charging you $30 for delivery. I was only going to charge him 20. So I told him, because normally for the distance I have to go, I charge $30. But I said, we'll just do this one time and you find out if I'm the right guy. He was all happy with that. So, uh-oh, looks like you guys fell over. I'll put this up here so you can see back this way now. There we go. All I gotta do is throw a couple more in and we're good. Whoop, sorry about that. I almost hit you right in the face with that one. How about if we go over here with you guys? Yeah, that's better. I use the little tripod. I forget what it's called. It's Joby, that's what they're called. You can put it on anything. I use it so much that it's not as strong as it used to be. The legs are getting more flexible, so that it flops around a lot more. I might have to get another one. I've only had it like 6 months, but I use it like every day. So I think this should be good. One more because I feel sassy. There we go. Done. So there's the load. It's done. But this one's in the way. And this one's in my way. And this one's in my way. There, now it's done. So there's the load. Gonna go deliver this one now. So we're gonna be like Willie and get on the road again.